scenario, they are providing their students and staff faculties with artist is essential, a COVID relief fund that they have created from donations and other campaigns. Next. Thank you.
I'll talk about the brand architecture. So it is a system that organizes brands, brand products, and services to help an audience access and relate to a brand. A successful brand architecture enables consumers to form opinions and preferences about it. So Otis has an Otis extension in which they have adult education and courses. They also have camps and summer art workshops, youth education, and courses related to it. So because of that, their brand recognition also increases. They also have exhibitions, and which gives a stronger point to it.
Can I just ask a question? So, I missed the first 4-5 minutes. The college that you're looking at, it's College of Art and Design, correct?
Sure, yes, ma'am.
Right. So, what is the role of Otis here? Otis is the university under which this
Ma'am,
is.
it is. Ma'am, it is a college name, Otis College, and under which there are several design courses offered.
There are several design courses offered. So in
Yeah.
one of your previous slides where the subsets had those 4 squares and then they increased the number of squares, can you go back to that?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, this one?
Yeah, just stay here.
So, ma'am, this all of in communication arts and digital media, all of them, the subunits have the same logo, but there is an extension programs which I said right now. So as you can see, they have increased, like they have changed the logo, they have replicated it a little. So that is the extension and the creative action which falls under it. So, like.
Yeah, we
Which
can
is
come
the,
back to.
extension.
Basically, what I understand is that these are the different departments that Otis has. Probably because these are the courses,
Yes, ma'am.
and they've divided it into different departments. So, architecture and landscape interiors. This is one department. Communication arts being another department. Digital media being another department.
Yes, ma'am.
So maybe a little bit of more study is required here, because if you're talking about brand architecture, maybe Otis is the parent and these are the subsets. So the architecture is Otis, it's College of Art and Design, and then these subsets. So one needs to look at it in greater depth, I feel, to understand what the architecture of this particular educational institute is.
Yeah, ma'am, actually, I was coming into that only,
Okay.
that it
Yeah.
has. So, yeah, basically, it has one logo and one
You can move
painted
to your
brand, which
slide.
is. Okay, yeah. Sorry. So as we have seen above, that it has a main logo, parent brand, which is Otis College, and then it has some subsets, which is fashion design and other subunits of that brand itself, and it also has extensions which was extended to exhibitions and camps and other courses like that for the people who doesn't study in that college, but for them who can who want just some 3-month or 4-month courses. Then I'll come to brand recognition and brand recall. So brand recognition is the access information in our memory to identify a brand, and brand recall it I'll just say the difference between them. So if we don't know, we don't recognize the brand, we won't able to recall it. So in this itself, Otis has this grid which which we recognize while we see it, and we recall it when we like different okay, I'm a little confused, but it is a different thing compared to a brand recognition, as it does not come from an external incentive. So if we don't know brand recognition, we won't be able to recall it. So in this brand itself, we have this grid in which we are able to recall it whenever we see that rectangular square block. Brand equity, so it is the social value of a well-known brand name, so that they can they can generate more revenue simply from their brand recognition, as consumer perceive the products of a well-known brand better. So in the right, you can see the list of Google image, which has it comes under top 5 fashion design school and colleges, and it comes under top 20 or top 40 list. And also, as Mansi said in the previous slides, also famous costume designers and leaders of some contemporary art movements, entrepreneurs, and Apple, Pixar, DreamWorks, they come here and teach these students. So it also increases its brand equity. Ideology. So they always believe in upliftment of their colleagues, students, and minorities. Also, above we saw support with Black Lives Matter in black and black. There was a movement of there was a summit of Black Indigenous people of color, Black History Month, first generation students, and they also show a heavy support in Black Lives Matter. So basically, first generation students are those whose parents cannot afford, they doesn't whose parents doesn't have a degree in any college, and they're not much educated. So they give discounts and scholarship to those students. And this is the main parent logo and end of our slide. Thank you.
Kanupriya, do you want to go first? Because I think you were making a point about something earlier.
Yeah, I can if the group has finished. So, first of all, very good presentation, students. You worked very hard. It was so well structured, so well articulated. Really impressed to see the first presentation. Couple of very good things that you pointed out. So I will talk about the positives first. First thing being, and this is for the entire class, some of the observations which will be relevant for your own project. I think one of the students in the group talked about the font family. So when you include a font family, what it essentially does is that it gives you a wide variety while still sticking to a similar look and feel. Like for example, when we were talking about the font family, so they stuck to this one font family which had very lot of variations of condensed, narrow, bold, demi bold. However, the broader look and feel was similar. So it gives you a lot of variety. This is something that you have to also, this is a takeaway when you are thinking of in terms of what typeface should you go for. You should always look for a font family which gives you that variety. It also helps in breaking the monotony. It makes your design more interesting, gives you more variety, breaks the monotony. So these are some of the things that you have to keep in mind when you're thinking and envisaging your own project. That is one thing. This is a very good point that you brought about. Very good observations related to the visual language, especially this observation of how they are using those little rectangles in the logo of its College of Art and Design. as well as in all the subsets, how that element has been taken out, extracted, and re-emphasized. Similarly, if I don't think no people, you all talked about the building. If you look at the building also, I don't know, maybe I missed it, maybe I was not present. So if you look at the building also, look at all the windows which are also emphasizing the same grid.
They talked about that.
Maybe I was not present at that time. So it's an excellent way of emphasizing the visual language, and it's just not limited to some of the things that designers, you as visual communication designers are going to take up. It can be extended to spaces, even architecture. So it's a very good takeaway. It's interesting that you brought this new case study which we'd not even looked at before. So very good point made there. Again, another good observation which the group made was how the number of rectangles are now going on increasing as the brand is extending. Okay. Again, very good observation there. Some very good points made about brand expansion. And brand positioning, brand loyalty, these are the three things that you people talked about. However, in terms of brand architecture, I think there are some gaps in that study, because if Otis is the main parent brand, okay, then what is its College of Art and Design? And then what are the different subsets? That's something that you need to figure out. So if Otis is the parent brand, then under which is the College of Art and Design, and under which are all those 8 subsets that you showed. So that is essentially the brand architecture that they have. That is something that you need to probably relook at. Okay, I felt there was a gap there, and in terms of, I saw that in brand positioning, loyalty, recognition, recall, when you're giving definitions, those definitions have been taken from somewhere. I also saw that the URL was mentioned. First of all, mention the URL in a different color and mention it at the bottom of the page. Okay. Secondly, like I told you yesterday, here, this course is a combination of research methodology and identity design. 2 courses have been clubbed. Now, when we are talking about research methodology, one, we are talking about some of the visual research methods, quantitative research methods, and qualitative research methods. What you're looking at currently are the visual research methods. We are going to be talking about the qualitative. Some bit of it is also qualitative here because you're doing an observation, right? But we are going to be formally talking about the quantitative and qualitative analysis in our next session. But what is very important for you to note here and also implement in your work is how to do citations, because whenever we are talking about secondary research, in secondary research, how you do citations is very, very important. You need to pick up this skill here and apply it in all your works. Now, clearly, the definition of brand positioning was taken from somewhere. It was used as it is, which means you have to put it, if you're using something as it is, you have to put it in quotation marks. Okay. And how the quotations are to be quotation marks are to be used, how quotations are to be layouted is very clearly articulated in the formats that you're going to follow for your citation. Like yesterday I told you, there are various formats available. It's APA, Harvard, Oxford, MLA, lots of formats are available, Vancouver, these are all different formats. You have to decide right in the beginning which format you're going ahead with, and then do your citation in that format, and also write the quotation in that format. There are specifications. You'll have to do a little bit of hard work there, but if you crack it now, it will be helpful for all your future projects. So whichever definitions that you've taken from wherever, just writing the URL would not be helpful. Okay, there are ways to do citations. Go to a citation website and crack it. That is missing. That information is going to be very relevant for you and for everybody else. And then again, where are these pictures from? Where is the reference page? Where have you taken these pictures from? This is somebody's intellectual property that you're using for your class. You have to give credits. You've not given any credits, and I mentioned it yesterday. Cite the source. Some things are you can use which come under Creative Commons, but you must still get into the habit of citing your sources. The sources are missing here. Another very important point that you made here was about the brand ideology, wherein they are supporting, contributing to the society, contributing to the community, and very strongly taking ahead the idea of Black Lives Matter. That's a very good point that you made. It also talks very well about how they're trying to position their brand as a socially responsible brand. So these are some very good points made by the group, and yeah, if I've missed something, I think Hazel will be able to point out those things. Over to you,
I think you
Hazel.
basically covered a lot of the stuff that I'd made notes of. Really great effort, you guys. I think it's a wonderful case study that you've chosen. And you've been, I like how you broke the brand guidelines down and interpreted and analyzed, each part of that in terms of the logo, the logo type. Also, you guys ended up using a lot of the terminology that we've been talking about off and on in the course. So this whole idea of, deriving an element from architecture, I thought that was really interesting. And maybe you want to look at that in terms of your own campus, like one of the things that I haven't been here very long, but one of the things that I've noticed is the arches. And so I think that's a very interesting thing that, do you want to look at that in terms of the N and the U? And basically it starts sparking a train of thought that is not obvious, and that is why it becomes interesting. And then I like how you spoke about the brand extension. I think Anupriya already covered what I wanted to say in terms of typography, that using a typeface with a large variety of weights is going to be very helpful. Something that has a display and a body, or that has a variety of weights and, their italic counterparts. Also, if you noticed, its universe, it's a compact font. It's a taller font than what you'd see in its regular counterpart. And that kind of talks about, again, the aspect of architecture, which I thought was very subtly introduced. And I think this is why design becomes interesting, when it's subtle. In terms of, I think you decoded, I think the color palette and everything really well. It is vibrant and youthful, and I think they've been very intentional about that. Just one kind of feedback was that, like, offline and online are not mediums. Like, the medium is print and screen. So when you're using it in your document, offline is not a medium. So you may want to look into that. I think you guys started touching on something very interesting, when you started talking about the brand positioning. And I wish that you had gone a little deeper into that. Yesterday when I was talking about your own interpretation, I wish that you'd taken it one step further and talked about what is the brand. So you said that this is a not for profit, and then you guys itself spoke about the idea of accessibility, upliftment. So what is the overall brand of Otis? Is it accessible design? Is it design for all? Is it socially aware? Accessible design for all. So I want you guys to, say that this is the brand and this is how it's trickling down. I think you touched upon it, but I want you guys to analyze it and come up with, that this is the brand messaging, and that's how it's trickled down into the brand positioning, and then how it affects brand recall, and, how it affects their programs. I think the other stuff Kanupriya already touched upon, so I'm not going to repeat it, but fantastic effort. I think a great case study, and I like how you broke it down.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, we'll look into the URL and everything, API format, and
Yeah.
we were going to, but
Yeah.
we didn't have time.
That's all right, but you know what is going to happen? You people are you people are you people are still in semester 4. This is semester 4. You still have 5, 6, 7, and 8. And when you're in degree project, I'm noticing that most of the students who are doing their degree project at the moment in the industry, they are also making the same mistake. So you have to get into this habit, because if you do not cite sources, which essentially means you are plagiarizing. And as designers, you also have to be very responsible designers. You cannot claim somebody else's, and you're not doing it intentionally. You're just not aware. So if you're aware of some of these things, you will actually be doing a lot of damage control to the larger community of people who are associated with design. I'm telling you, this is happening. People are not aware, they're doing things unintentionally, and this needs to be checked right here. Okay.
Yeah, I
So
couldn't agree more.
cite sources. If you're taking any picture from anywhere, you have to see whether it falls under the category of Creative Commons or not. If you can reuse it or not, right? A lot of music, a lot of content which is generated, which is under Creative Commons, and you can use it. However, it's a very good habit to still cite sources and give credits.
Yeah.
So some of these ethical practices are very important at this stage, and has to become a habit. Okay, so it's all right. At least you're acknowledging, and I would say you're owning up that you've not looked at it, but you will in future. So I appreciate that. Okay, thank you. I think we can move on to the next group.
I think I'm just going to put a few
Thank you,
resources in the chat that you guys can look at. That will either help your document, or even designers that have worked in interesting ways using the similar grid method that you all just talked about. Anyway, I think we can move on to the next group. Does anybody want to go next, or should I just pick someone at random?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, group 3 would like to go next.
Lovely. Go ahead.
Uh,
Somebody just start a timer, please, from the group, so you guys keep track of however long you have.
And you all can stop us also if we exceed
Yes,
5
ma'am.
minutes. So when we start giving you feedback, stop us at 5 minutes. Give us a warning at 4 minutes, and then because we also want to keep to the time and finish it before around 3:30 or 4ish, something like that.
So, ma'am, we are group 3 and we'll be talking about the University of Arts London. So, the university recently did its rebranding. So, we'll be starting our presentation with talking about the first ever logo used by the university. And we have analyzed the logo and listed down some of the points as to why we think the logo did not work and why was there a need of rebranding. So the logo that we see on the screen was made by a team of students, and it was developed by Lloyd Northover in 2004. So the typeface that has been used in the logo is FS Lola Medium. And the idea behind the logo is that the motto of the university was a creative constellation. So they've used the Sastic stars to show the constellation. At the same time, the 6 stars represent the 6 colleges which come under the university. And they have been positioned in a way that it represents the location of all the colleges with respect to each other. So in this logo, firstly, we noticed that the typeface, it is not very robust at a smaller scale. So at a larger scale, it works fine. But if it were to reduce to a smaller scale, like in business cards or letterheads, it wouldn't be legible or distinguishable. The next thing that we saw, that if one doesn't know the story behind the use of Astic stars, we wouldn't be able to know how it depicts the university. With that, we came to the third point, which was that it is a logo for a university. So the foremost thing that it needs is to be professional. But there is a use of lot of bright colors, which again does not represent the mood of the brand that it is a logo of. The next thing which we saw was that it is not easy to recognize or understand what it stands for. And again, there is some context to how the stars has been placed and how the text has been placed. But again, the spacing and the way they have been placed doesn't look very appealing. The next thing was that in one of the articles that I'd read, the chairman of the ULA said that why they needed a new visual identity was because they felt the logo they were using currently depicted more of a separation than the 6 colleges coming together. And the last thing is that the University of Arts London is like quite a mouthful to be used in a logo, and it doesn't help in making the logo memorizable. So in the next slide, over here, we can see that this is the umbrella brand and then the sub brands. So in this subsets of the university, we can see that in the logo, all of the 6 colleges have been given a color, and then they have highlighted the name of that college in that color, and one of the star is also highlighted in that color to show that which college it is with respect to the others. So this logo was used for quite some time until they realized that they needed to refresh their visual identity. So what was that they needed? Firstly, something which was more cleaner, not very overcomplicated or over-designed. The next thing was that they wanted something which would stand out, but would not be very dominating. And the third thing was, as quoted by the chairman of UAL, they wanted something bold, robust, and authoritative. And the fourth was something simplified. And lastly, what did not work in the previous logo was that it did not show the federation of all the colleges coming together. So they wanted something which would be a unifier, but still the distinct characteristics of the colleges would come through. So this is the current logo.
Can you go back a little?
So this is the current logo, and this.
Just one slide back.
Yes, ma'am.
What was the last point that you talked about?
On this.
No, last point on the unifier point. What was the point that you were making? Next slide.
Yes, ma'am. So in an article, yeah. So, ma'am, over here, what they felt, UAL, that the logo that they were currently using did not show the unification of all the 6 colleges coming together under the university. They felt it showed more of a separation.
Fine.
So that was the major reason why they needed a new visual identity. So this is the current logo that we can see on the screen, and it was designed by Pentagram in 2012. The typeface that has been used is Helvetica, and the logo type is wordmark, and the core colors of the logo are black and white. So the first thing which we see is that they have used the initial of the name of the university. So it is again a very good simplification for the identity, makes it memorizable. The next thing is that the use of colon, it has an importance in the logo. That is, on the other side of the colon, we can see that the name of the university is written. So when they use it for depicting the sub-brands, the name of the colleges come under, like on the other side of the colon. So the colon actually acts as the bridge between the college and the university. So that was the purpose of using the colon in the logo. One more thing that we see is, again, it fills the requirements of being bold, striking, and it helped them in improving the recognition of their brand. The next thing was that the use of Helvetica was very smart because the typeface is firstly neutral, and also it is strong enough to be used at smaller sizes also. Another thing that when you use Helvetica at a larger size, it is not dominating, but it makes an impact. So again, it served the purpose of what they wanted. The next thing was the use of colors. It was monochromatic. So it was the logo became versatile so that you can adapt it on any kind of material like the print medium. And the next thing is that unlike in the previous logo, like where there was some thought which went behind the placing of the stars, it still did not look very appealing. But over here, they have placed the colon and the text in such a way that it looks very well proportioned. And there is a lot of white space between it, which again increases the readability of the logo from a faraway distance. The next thing which we saw was that firstly the logo is distinct. It is also relevant because it looks professional to be the logo of a university, and it is scalable. And the next thing was, again, I read it in an article that the chairman of UAL, she said that the identity of their university is the work of the students. So unlike other universities, they didn't want something which would fight with the work of the students. They wanted something simple. So hence this logo. So now this is their brand architecture model. We can see the umbrella brand and then the colleges, the logos for the colleges. Again, the color for the name, like to specify which college, it is in green. So what is the advantage of having, so this brand architecture model we learned was called branded house. And we saw that the advantages of using this brand architecture model was that first of all, it is very consistent. The next thing which we saw that it does not create any kind of confusion, that you can easily relate a college to the university. And the third thing was that it builds brand equity. So we saw that if one of the colleges is doing well, it adds to the value of the parent brand or the umbrella brand. So now Kashmi will be talking about the symbol.
Can't hear you. Is Kashmi already talking? Kashmi?
Ma'am, she's here in the meet, but I guess she's facing some network issue.
Can someone take over for her?
Yeah, I'll start. Sakshi, move on to my slides.
Excuse me. Hello, ma'am.
Kashmi?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. I'll start over. I was speaking, but I don't know you can't hear me. So I'll be talking about the symbol of the brand, which is the colon. So the colon here is a very simple and the valuable element of the logo, and this symbol is an integral part of their visual identity and is also used majorly for their branding, which also helps create brand recognition along with their brand awareness, as the usage of the symbol is seen consistently everywhere as their branding element, and to emphasize, explain, and expand the ideas through brand messaging. The colon also has the significant meaning to it as it bridges the university and the colleges, which also symbolizes the connections that build the creative network. So according to me here, the colon functions as a useful identifier for UAL and all its constituent parts. And its creative and consistent use has also made the colon an invaluable asset for their brand. So the primary colors here are black and white, but the flexibility is visible within the color of the symbol and background, as the colors are used from the primary as well as secondary palette of their brand. Also here the contrast between the symbol and background is very high and defined and has been taken care of. So talking about the role of these symbols, so here it is helping to connect to the idea or message while communicating. Next. Sakshi, next. So here are some examples on how the positioning and layout of the symbol has taken place. So it is observed here that there is control over the use and placement of the symbol from a small scale to large scale and interaction with the imagery. When the symbol is used with imagery, it is observed that the relationship between the symbol and the content within the imagery is seen, and also the contrast between the symbol and the background, which is the image, is also very high. So the symbol is clearly visible. Next. So the symbol is not just used to create a visual identity, but it is also used as a playful element in various ways. So here are some unique works created by the students inspired by the symbol. On the left, on the right hand side, they have also used the pattern and illustration within and around, which is enhancing the symbol. They have also kept in mind that how the pattern and illustrations will interact with and not detract from the symbol. So one important thing which is observed in all these posters is that the symbol is not used simply as a decorative element, but is also used to integrate into the layout or image to become a frame for typography or to emphasize a particular message. Also, it is observed that the symbol is not overused within the pages. Next. Sakshi, next. Huh? So next is about the typography which is used by the brand. So the primary font family used by the brand is Helvetica New, which is the integral component for all the University Arts of London's communication, as it also helps in brand recognition. Also, Helvetica New, which is sans serif font, have more modern and minimalistic feel, and it is also easy to read at small size. And also, it is widely used as a sans serif font around. So their primary typeface is Helvetica New 75 Bold. So particularly this weight is observed for all the headings of their university, but the weight changes for the subheads and body copy. So it is also observed that how the language is consistent by not changing the typeface, but just the weights, so as to show the visual hierarchy. So again, they have the secondary font family, which is Arial, but only used when Helvetica New is not available, as it is the similar typeface and also goes with the identity of the brand. So for headings, it is Arial Bold, and for body copy, it is Arial Regular. So basically, the Arial is used when for internal needs, such as Word documents, Excel sheets, PowerPoint slides, and email applications. Next. So talking about the color palette used by the brand. So as it is known that the color palette is an important part of the visual identity, their color palette reflects their personality, which is bold and confident. The core colors of the university are black and white, which is used in all the university applications. And as they have used these colors consistently, it makes the brand instantly recognizable across their communications. Also, usage of one primary color is included while pairing or grouping with other secondary colors. The image which shows the secondary palette is created to allow more flexibility, and the colors also complement black and white. Also, use of more than 2 secondary colors per application is not allowed, and the typography should also have high contrast against its background. Here, the grays are also used in addition to the core colors of black and white. Next,
Nikki here, so I'll talk about brand guidelines by the university. So they have mentioned many of.
Can't hear you. Is this Nikki?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you'll have to be louder or keep the your mic closer to your mouth.
Ma'am, am I audible now?
Yeah, better.
Yeah, okay. So they have mentioned many of the brand guidelines, and each and every small detail they want people to keep in mind while using it. So starting from this, they want their logo can be used only on branded materials designed for the UK people. The logo should not be recreated, or even changing the lockup design is avoidable. So talking about the color, they want the logo to be in black or white, depending on the background. So if there is a black background, the logo has to be in white, and vice versa. They have positioned their logo that has to be in the left corner. The priority is given to the left top corner, but if it's not available, then we can also place the logo in the left bottom corner. The proportion has to be precise, and we can't use the logo as a part of sentence or word, and if it has to be used, then it can be used as a symbol. Sakshi, next. Here they have taken care of the readability for the audience, as the logo has to be in either black or white. They have stated the precise opacity shade of the background. The white logo can be used with the background that has more contrast than 50%, and similarly black on background contrast less than 50%. Sakshi, next. Okay, as mentioned before, the logo should be on the left top or bottom. Here it is shown. Here they have given scale for different formats. for the landscape format, the height of the logo should be 10%, and for the portrait and square format, the height should be 5%. Sakshi, next. Here they have given size of the logo that has to be followed in the different sizes. So here also they have taken care that the logo is in the top left corner, and they have different heights, like a minimum height for each different sizes. They have mentioned here in the left side. Sakshi, next. So here is the position, like being in the left side also they have a strict like positioning spacing for the corners, and here are the 4 marks where content can't be placed. Sakshi, next. Also, we can't place the title of the document or heading sort of thing with the logo and the symbol. It is strictly prohibited. Yeah, over to Zeel.
In terms, these are the letterhead of UAL. So in terms of that, the logo type is 50% of the height of university logo. Also, there are 6 universities. They have to if they mention the other subsets of the university, there have to be equal spacing between the X height of the first line and the baseline. Next.
Do you really need to explain the entire brand guide? Just broadly talk about some of these things.
Okay. Here,
Because these are the things that they've already thought about. What have you thought about? What are your observations? These observations become more interesting for us.
Okay. In terms of analysis, here we can see that they have mentioned the brand partners, like they are in different scale. Like it is the logo is 75% of the UAL logo. Also, they are left aligned. The logo is placed left aligned. Next.
Now skip explaining the brand guide, please. Seriously. Because we have to see even abhi to 6 I think 5 more groups to go. Now if everyone starts explaining each brand guide, that's not, we want you to make some general observations. You study the brand guide just to understand how they have carried forward the visual language. It's a good study though, because you would be designing a brand guide as well. But for this session, I think what we expect you to do is come up with your own observations, your own analysis.
Yeah, I think it would sum up to just give us an overall that, this is what they've covered in the brand guide. Like, we don't need a detailed study of the brand guide itself.
Okay, ma'am.
But it's appreciated that it's there.
Okay, ma'am. We can run through it. So.
Yeah, run through it quickly.
Okay, this is you're using symbol with typography. Next. These are some do's and don'ts, like we cannot overuse the symbol, we can't rotate. Next.
Okay, ma'am. So I'll be taking up the advertisement and posters part. So this is one of them. This is one of the posters which was made by the students. Next slide, please. So these are few of the observations that I have made in this. So first of all, the visual language is kept the same by the usage of the font which is used in the logo, which is Helvetica Neue 75 bold. The squares used in the poster give it a very simple look, and also the logo really blends in well with the poster overall, and doesn't look out of place. Also, the main catchphrase, which is "Life is short," which is a catchphrase for the short courses that they offer, is also made in big and in contrasting colors of black and white, so that it is the first thing that catches your eye. And also, the information regarding the course is highlighted, which is something we'll see in some of the upcoming posters also. Next one. Yeah, so this is the stay. So this is their own shop that they have. Sakshi, stayed in the previous slide now. Yeah. So this is the shop that they have over at the university, which is called Not Just a Shop, and this is where the students' works are displayed, and it's a place where you can just go and buy them as merchandise. Next one. So few of the observations made here were that, first of all, I noticed that the text was written in an orange color, which is kind of neon orange color. So I guess that it would be to incite some kind of enthusiasm into the customers, and it's also a very catchy color. Also, the name is very intriguing. Like you don't see a shop every day that's called Not Just a Shop, which quite attracts people. So you're curious to know what else is found here. Again, like the common factor again is that the visual identity is always maintained. It does not change. It's always been used in the Helvetica font. Also, another interesting observation that I made was if you can, so actually we can go back to the image again, the previous slide. Yeah, if you notice here that outside the door and even outside the window, it's there in this white band. So my guess is, since it's like a gift shop or a stationery shop, this is like a ribbon or a tape which they use to wrap up the gifts. So which they have advertised on the outside of the shop. So that is my guess here. Okay, section next to. So these are a few of the posters which I found was very interesting, and this was in regarding to their courses again that they offer. So next slide, Sakshi. Now, the main observation here, other than the visual style, is that how the letters M and A are highlighted in all of the posters that were seen before. So this is pertaining to the Master of Arts degree that is available in postgraduate. So they have made their posters in such a way that the M and A is of a higher opacity than the other letters. So in that case, it's quite evidently the posters that are here, it's advertising for the Master of Arts degree. And also, like I said in the first Life is Short poster, the main information where they are regarding the postgraduate courses again highlighted in this time here in gold. Next one, Sakshi. These are the posters that even Kashmi had shown before, which utilizes just the colon to keep the visual language much more simplified, and it's also used as a short form of the logo where the entire logo cannot be used always. Next. And these are some of their merchandises, like shown before by Nikki, that how the logo, color of the logo is utilized. And color of the logo is utilized. So here the hoodie is of this gray, it's of this grayish color, light grayish color. So because of that, the text of the logo, which is the UA London College of Fashion, is written in black, so that it follows the norms that are set by the college and also doesn't interfere anywhere. And the second hoodie here, which I found quite interesting, was that not only does it have the UAL text with the name of the respective college, it also has written in this very sporty looking text, the class of 20XX, so which can be filled. And also my guess here for the blue patch that we see below that, my guess would be it is probably signatures or autographs that are like done by I'm guessing previous year students or the alumni. So it's kind of like a souvenir that the students of this year get to carry. Next one, Sakshi. So these are also again few of the other merchandise like the t-shirts. Again, as can be seen here in the second t-shirt, again only the colon is used, so it's also using the simplified version. In the white bag that we see here, it has the names of the different sub colleges which are in association with UAL. Next one.
Who's keeping the timer?
Ma'am, I am.
How much time is left?
Ma'am, 6 minutes.
Will you be able to wrap it up in 6 minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Sakshi, the next one. Yeah. So yeah, this is in regarding to the hoodies that I had shown before, where the color and the text were used in that such manner. And next one, Sakshi. Yeah, now over to Astha.
So this is the official website of UAL. So what I noticed is that the user interface design of the website is very simple yet unique. Also, the high contrast between the logo and the background and all their print media and website or merchandise follows that. Next. The courses offered by the university are also mentioned on the website in a very simplistic way, which helps visitors to find what they are looking for very easily. Next. So coming to social media, the visual language, also the visual language in all the social media is also very consistent, which also helps in brand recognition. So this is the official Facebook page of UL, where all the upcoming events and news are updated. Next. And this is the official Instagram page, and the official logo is used as the profile picture. Next. So this is the Instagram page for short courses which are offered by the university. So the work of students who have applied for the short courses is posted over here, and the profile picture is the colon. Next. And this is the Instagram page for the students who have already graduated, and they post about their work in industry and overall what they are doing after graduating. Next. This is the Twitter handle, and they are not very active on Twitter, but they still post about the events and everything and the news which is going to come. Next. This is the official YouTube website, and they are very active over here because they are posting videos almost every day, and they are also posting videos of processes of works done by students and even faculties. Next. And as not just a shop, as Rishabh mentioned, it is a store in 272 High Holborn, London. It is a place to discover unique home, fashion, giftware, and artwork done by UL students and alumni. Students and alumni from all UL colleges can submit their work to be considered for sale. Next. So this is the website for not just a shop. So if anybody wants to buy things online, they can also visit the website and buy it from there. Next. And this is the official website for UL merchandise. So students can also online shop from here. Next.
How much time is left?
Ma'am, this is the last slide, second last slide. So.
Okay.
And these are the merchandise available on the website, and the prices are also mentioned. Next. That's it. Thank you.
Astha Parmar, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But I don't know how Astha looks like. I keep forgetting. Yeah. It's such a lovely face. Why don't you put on your video? Switch on your video. Everybody switches off their videos very conveniently. थोड़ा सा मॉर्निंग के टाइम पे अपना बैकग्राउंड चूज कर लिया करो, comb your hair, have a bath. You know, if that will make you more comfortable in switching on your video. Choose where you want to sit, put a nice background. I don't think you people have a problem of bandwidth. This is just one excuse, big excuse, which everybody is using. See, Rishabh is also smiling. Problem kahan hai? I think you all will wear face shields when you all come here, and those will not be transparent face shields. Those will be opaque shields. None of you would want to show your faces when you're talking, even in your offline classes. Is it? I'll design one for you all. क्या problem है यार? Please keep your videos on, unless there is a serious problem. Okay. You want to go first, Hazel?
Carry on since you're already.
Okay.
Carry on.
I mean, I have made a long list, so please stop me in between if I'm exceeding the time limit. Okay. You all started very well, I feel, but you all lost your path in between, according to me. Started very well with observations of the earlier logo. Some very, very accurate observations made that earlier logo was too scattered, and it was not basically projecting the larger vision of the organization. Some very good observations made there. Somebody also pointed out that maybe it was pointed out by the director, but at least you brought that point that instead of making the units looking cohesive and coming together, it actually created a lot of separation, visually as well as metaphorically. So some of these things, very good observations made here. However, and a good start again about the new logo. The agency, the design house which designed it was Pentagram. It was black and white, use of neutral colors, which allowed the students' work to be glorified because students' work is in full color. The color palette that they've selected, good observations. Then you started explaining the brand guide. Suddenly, we wanted you to actually understand what is the purpose of a brand guide and how they have used their brand guide and realize the visual communication, in various media. So that observation was missing. Use of colons. Now that's a very interesting use of colons, but nobody did an observation analysis. What is the connotative meaning of a colon and what is the denotative meaning of a colon, and how it actually fits the larger meaning of that logo. Nobody did that. It was at a very surface level. That entire analysis of signifier and signified in this context would have been very relevant. And yesterday I sent a message also that do an analysis, because those are visual analysis techniques. Do an analysis based on denotation, connotation. Do an analysis based on signifier, signified. None of you tried to look at it from that angle. It was very, very important. So while colon is being used beautifully visually, and I'm saying that it is okay to have visual inspirations in your communication. But if you know what it stands for conceptually, it will strengthen your work. Okay, you didn't look at that aspect at all. Then another thing that you showed, which I thought was very interesting, was a grid. You know, there were two squares in the colon was in the center, and how the size of the poster was derived using that colon square as a grid. Now, this is a very good technique for getting some visual balance and achieving visual aesthetics in your design. So that's a takeaway. This is something that you could also look at in your own work. Similar thing that you showed in how they derived the safe space around the logo. You can't have too many things around the logo because it will start to interfere with the logo. Has to stand out wherever it is used in a design. It has to stand out because that is what is going to lead to brand recognition and brand recall. So how the universities, the earlier one also and this one also, they're trying to work out a safe space around the logo that are in this much space, there should be no other photograph or text used, so that logo can be, it can stand out in that busy design catalog of students' work or anything else. So that was a very interesting thing that you brought out, and that's a good takeaway. Now, last two people did made some interesting observations, especially where I think Rishabh talked about that tape. That's an interesting idea, and it gives a clue that yes, it may be a gift shop, and they will pack it for you in that way, or maybe they have designed their own packaging material using that as a visual language. That's an interesting point you made there, but the last two people were very much at the surface, I felt. When you're saying that so they are creating, they've set up a shop, or they're selling their merchandise online. Why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? What is the branding concept that gets applied here? Nobody thought of that. And this whole exercise was actually for understanding those concepts. When somebody is going to that shop and they're buying a hoodie, and when they're wearing that hoodie at 10 places, what is it doing for the brand?
It helps in brand recognition.
Yeah. So you didn't talk about it. When somebody buys a mug and uses it, what does it do for the brand? Nobody talked about it. These are the things that you were to talk about. And you're talking, but you're not writing your analysis anyway. In your documentation, your analysis has to be very clearly articulated. It can't be, and then again, no citations, nothing. You don't know, we don't know where you picked these images from. So the reference page was missing. The reference page has to be there. Okay. And yeah, I mean, you didn't talk about, briefly touched upon concept of brand recognition, brand recall, but no detailed analysis came out. So these things are missing, and this was the whole purpose of this presentation. So the purpose of the presentation, according to me, has been defeated. Yeah. So you need to do some refinement before you put it in your documentation. I think leave it here. Over to you, Hazel.
So again, I think what Anupriya said, you guys started off really strong. I think the way you guys analyzed that old logo and brought it to the new logo, even with the idea of a baseline, how the baseline was kind of missing in the old logo, and with the new logo there's a baseline now, so everything looks very solid. It looks very stable. But I think again to just pick up from what Kanupriya said, you guys started really strong, but I feel like shaking you guys up because where is your analysis? Like the whole point of looking at a brand start to finish is for you guys to figure out what is this brand. What is, are they an elite art college? Are they like a college saying that, we're distorting the boundaries between art and design? But where is that? So if they're using a Helvetica, I loved how you said that, okay, there's Helvetica Noir 75 and everything. But why? Are they trying to talk about a neutrality? Because that is what Helvetica is. It's a neutral sans serif font that is widely used. Are they trying to blend in? Are they trying to, even the idea of, a colon, which has it's essentially what, 2 squares put together? It could have been 2 circles put together, but they chose 2 squares. So what Kanupriya said about why a colon, why the thing of a square? And then look at the proportion of Helvetica. It's square proportions. So what are they talking about? Stability? I really want you guys to analyze these things, not just say, okay, they're using Helvetica. I think it's a great start and you guys have been exhaustive. So I give you credit for that. But, I feel like I want to hear what you think about this. Otherwise, the purpose of this entire thing is, kind of non-existent. Even the idea of a colon, why are they using it again and again? To basically, emphasize brand recall and recognition. It's basically what Nike's done with the swoosh. So, somewhere I feel like there are still many dots to be connected. And what was the size of your presentation? What is the size of your document? Because Kanupriya said yesterday that, this is meant for print eventually. So what is the size of your document?
Ma'am,
I think they've done it in a PPT format, but you have to work out a document eventually.
Somewhere, you guys,
Yes,
I'm going to pull you up on this because you all are 4th sem. And your line length is all over the place. Your alignments are all over the place. Your margins are all over the place. Come on, you guys. You all are talking about this beautiful identity and it's sitting, and I guess this applies to everyone, not just you guys. But does it make sense? Does what I'm saying make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So basically, then yesterday we also talked about what is the brand message here. What is the brand message here? If you have done this entire analysis, like in your earlier in the last group's presentation, and even in this, what is that larger message? You can also do you can start associating keywords. The minute you done this analysis, such a detailed analysis, you should be able to associate some positive keywords. What is that brand trying to do? How are they positioning themselves? What are the associations getting for? We have done this exercise last year also, right? When we did the brand identity 1 course. What are the associations with that particular brand? Those keywords which immediately get associated with the brand. You can do this exercise for the case studies that you've taken up. And you will have to do this.
To touch upon it, when you talked about the old identity, and then I think one of you said that in the old identity it didn't work because the founder or whoever wanted it to be strong, bold, whatever, I don't know. But then, what does that say about the brand? And how I think the essential point of this is to figure out what is this as a brand and how is it trickling down into the visual identity, the logo, the collaterals, whatever subsets of a visual identity there are. But if you don't figure out what that thing at the top is, you can't figure out how it's trickling down and if it's effective.
And also, just showing this is the website, they use the website for showcasing the work of the students. We know what is the purpose of a website? How do you think the core message is getting translated into a website, into their posters, into their social media posts? You could have done an analysis of the kind of posts that they're doing. Somebody said that they are very regular on social media. Why? Why are they regular? Because they want brand visibility. That's why they are regular. This is the kind of analysis that was expected of you. That what are they doing for their brand visibility? They are very regular on social media because the more they are visible, the more the recall strengthens. Okay. I think we leave you with these thoughts. You need to do a deeper analysis over the week because we are going to be meeting again on Thursday and Friday. We will not discuss these things again, but for your own documentation. And you would, when we meet again on Thursday and Friday, and this is for the entire class, whatever has happened so far in your first session, second session, third session, and today is the fourth session, has to go in your documentation. Yesterday, I think we discussed the size of the document, A4. You can go for a standard size, work out the margins, work out the typeface that you're going to be using. And to select the typeface, don't just limit it, don't take that decision on screen. Take a printout. Okay, take a printout and see whether that typeface is working or not. Okay, take a decision about the columns. You have been given these inputs, I think, in semester 1 as well as in semester 3. And this is your fourth semester. I think in fourth semester also you have like a type design course or typography 3 course. I don't remember offhand. But you know some of these things. Figure out a layout, figure out a grid. And when you all come back on Thursday and Friday, I want to see the documentation up till now. Okay, everything that we've discussed, the feedback that has been given to you, everything has to be well documented. Your journey has to be visible, not just these photographs that you're showing on screen. It doesn't work. Every screen, every photo that you put has to have an analysis.
And please include a bibliography or a references credits page at the end.
So if it doesn't go hand in hand, in the end, it will be extremely chaotic. You won't be able to handle doing documentation in the last 2 days, and documentation does have a lot of emphasis in your evaluation also.
If you guys need help with it, like whoever wants help with it, just let me know. We can sit for like 10 minutes during lunch and figure it out. I'm happy to do that with you guys.
Ma'am, I'm from group 5 and we have used standard square size, which is 8.5 inches into 8.5 inches. So is that okay for documentation? Like we have started with that square size.
I mean, if that square is within A4, I think you can go for it.
It is within A4.
Yeah, so that's not a problem.
Is it?
I think you.
Not sure. How much is it in centimeters?
Or we can make it I think let them all go for A4. Let's make a standard.
I think so. Just
don't
guys,
complicate
as
it.
designers, please think about like paper wastage and stuff like that. Like it just like why are you using a square? Like is it just because you like a square? Just think about these things as a designer, not just because like you're doing it because it like, okay, on Instagram, I get that there is a square format, but like, how does that, it neither does it work for print, nor does it work for screen. Anyway, let's get on with it for now and we can figure it out as we go.
Should we break for lunch, Hazel?
Sure.
It's already 12:17 because if we take the next group, so if we take the next group, it will take 40 minutes. So either we can break for lunch at 1. We can break for lunch at 1 also.
Whatever the students like.
What do you want, students?
Quickly, you guys say something.
We've looked at group 3 and the first and group 1, correct?
5.
Okay, group 5 and group 3.
Yeah.
I want to also check the number of participants here in the class. 43. Yeah, everybody is present. Okay. So
I'll share the attendance sheet with you later.
we have 5 more groups to go after lunch. So we can shorten the lunch time and meet after 40 minutes if it's okay with you all.
Ma'am, our group wants to go next right now.
No, we are hungry.
Okay, ma'am.
No, actually, I also have a meeting. So I have to first attend a meeting and then I need to eat my food. Otherwise, I won't have any energy to give you feedback, honestly.
Okay, sorry for asking you guys. The decision was already made.
No, on second thoughts, but I asked
No,
you
sure.
and I thought, yeah.
So what time are we reconvening?
I think 40 minutes. 1 o'clock we should reconvene.
Okay. Does anybody want to sit with me in the lunch break and figure out their documents? Just message on the group and I'll be here.
So I can't leave the meeting on during the lunch break.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this would have to be done later, towards the end of the day. If somebody has any questions related to the format.
Okay, so just put it on the group and I'll sit with you all at the end of whatever. Alright, so see everyone at 1 then.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Hazel, I made you the host.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm just ending the meeting.
Yeah, just end the meeting.